Well, folks, I think it's time that we get started here. I've been reading all the notes here, and it's 9:45, and that little hand came up and said, "Let's get this thing rocking and rolling." And it's good to be here with you. This has been phenomenal. Conn-Selmer has been a lifesaver for so many of us. I love doing these things, and I love being with the Conn-Selmer folks. And the I get more out of it than you probably get out of me. To be honest with you, I spend most of my time looking at other sessions and doing those sorts of things, but. Larry Livingston yesterday, I took 2 pages of notes, and it was just absolutely phenomenal what he said. And I wrote a bunch of stuff down, and I stole a lot of stuff. And I steal from great people. I don't steal from bad people, just from great people. Bob Morrison before, watched most of that. It's very interesting, and it's lots of good things to do. And I think one of the things we're going to ask you is we're going to ask Ronnie to put the poll up there and ask you some questions about, you've been hearing a lot of things for the last day and a half or a day and a quarter about tuning the band, and I watched Richard's sessions and Paula's sessions and Frank's sessions and a lot of sessions and Tim's sessions, and I learned so much, and it's just the more I listen to them, the more I realize I don't know, and it's just so refreshing and so encouraging and so invigorating, and in these times we really need that. There's no question about this. I'm going to start with a little story and talk about some things here that I think we all need. You're getting a lot of techniques, a lot of ways and hows to do things. And I think one of the things that we're all struggling with, and me included, is how we're going to go on. One of my big fears here is how I'm going to protect the integrity of the band program, the integrity of band composers and music and the history behind it, because it's all going to be changed and different for a while, and that's a tough one to deal with, but we're going to have to, and I'm going to talk about how to do that. But one of the things that really is important to me is what we learn from these things. And one of the things that is crucial is that we learn to listen. And if you think about it, in the band world, and rehearsing and conducting and teaching and the comments and the techniques, everything's been done. There's a new twist to some things, but everything has been done. But we steal things from people, we borrow things from people, and we put our mixture in our personalities, our habits, our talents, our techniques, and it becomes us. It becomes who we are, and that's important. And I learned that at a very early age. And I remember sitting at the University of Wisconsin. I did my master's there. I did my undergraduate at Ohio State, the Ohio State, go Bucks, and my master's at the University of Wisconsin. And my first Wisconsin class was a Monday night class. I didn't even know the title. It was some music philosophy or music education course about something or other. I'm not really sure, but I was 22, 23 years old, scared to death, wet behind the ears, and just green all over, and had no idea what I didn't know. And I sat in the class with all these PhD people and master's people, and I sat there with my jeans and my T-shirt, my Bucky Badger T-shirt, and all of a sudden the professor walked in. He was an older man. His name was Bob Petzold, Dr. Petzold. And he walked in, and there was a table in front. And on the table was a pitcher of water. And he walked behind the table, and he walked slowly, and he looked tired. I looked tired. He looked old. I look old. He came in there, and he had his hands in his pockets, no handouts, no materials, no syllabi, nothing. And I thought, well, this is interesting. And of course, some of the DMA people were rolling their eyes and all that sort of stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure what the attitude here is, what I'm supposed to do. But he started talking. And he said, I've been teaching for a long time. He said, this is my last semester. I'm going to retire. And he says, and I've learned an awful lot of things in my life. And he says, I've taught an awful lot of things. And he grabbed a pitcher of water in the middle of the table, and he held up that pitcher, and it was half full with water. And he said, everything I've ever learned from everybody else in my life is in this pitcher. He said, I've been storing it. I've been storing it so that when I go into a class, I can pour it out on my students, and they can store it if they choose to. And so he grabbed this pitcher and he held it up, and he said, now here's what the challenge is for us teachers. He said, there are two types of students in this class. The vast majority, in fact, the overwhelming majority of them are like this. And he started to pour the pitcher out on a piece of what we thought was just a piece of paper, and it was. And as he dripped the water on the piece of paper, it hit the piece of paper, and it started to disintegrate the piece of paper, and it ran off the table and created a mess. He said, I have spent a lifetime gathering this information, and I'm going to spill everything I know out to you about this class, and most of you aren't going to hear it. You're not going to remember it. You're not going to consume it. You're not going to realize it. And he said, there's maybe a couple, and probably just one of you. And to this day, I think I was that one person. Did I know that? No. But this changed me and affected me in a way. And he poured this water over another, what we thought was another piece of paper, but it turned out to be one of those impulse aisle items that you buy at the grocery store. They're called Miracle Grow Sponges. And the sponge was there, and he started to drip onto this from the pitcher, and he said, I'm going to pour this out again. And there's going to be one person or maybe two people in this entire class of 15, 20 students that's going to soak this up. That's going to be the sponge and take all of this and store it someplace, because you never know when you're going to need this. Look at all the information we're getting at Conn-Selmer here this week, this last couple of days. Incredible amounts of information. And he poured it on there, and as the water dripped on, the water did not run off the table. The grow sponge, the Miracle Grow Sponge, expanded almost to the size of a brick. And it contained all the water, or as he said, all the knowledge that he ever learned that he's going to pour out to us. And he picked up that sponge, he put the pitcher down, he picked up that sponge, and he looked at us and he said, now here's what somebody in here is going to do, is they're going to store this. They're going to be a sponge in everything they do here in this class and in this degree program and in their lives. And they're going to store it, and they're going to keep squeezing that sponge out and store their pitcher of knowledge, so that when they get in front of the classroom, they will be able to give that knowledge to other people. I never forgot that. I never, ever forgot that. So I tell students all the time, be the sponge. Be the sponge. Soak things up. It's just a matter of us learning things, even if we don't know that we understand those or want to understand them. So we have to be the sponge. The poll, Rania, I think is there. I think the poll is out there, and ask you the questions. Are you worried about what your band program is going to look like in the future? I am. And the second question is, do you feel you have any control over what transpires? I wonder about that sometimes too. Just in fact, 10 minutes before we went live here, I got an email from our university saying that we're starting classes 1 week earlier than announced. And that was over our band camp. Now, we're not even sure if there's going to be a band or there's going to be a band camp. So as soon as we're done here, what I need to do is I need to understand what I need to do. And I'm looking at the chat here and says there's no poll there. So Rania, if you could, she'll get that poll to you. She's probably assisting somebody else here at this time, but she'll get that to you, and you'll see it. I just would like to know that. So, all right.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Sorry, Frank.
But, I looked at that email, and immediately everything that we've been planning for is out the window. It's gone. And most of us will understand that we see these things, we become bogged down, and we become, intimidated. We become quite honestly sometimes depressed and just downright deflated. And there was a second there that I was, because we were ready to go. We had plan A, B, C, all the way to Z, for crying out loud, with that 1 week of band camp, and figuring out, well, this is Big 12 football. This is a big thing. It's a 400-piece marching band. My budget comes 100% from athletics. So there's a lot of buy-in on this, and a lot of damage that could be done if we don't do it. So I'm concerned. However, this is a great session for me to do, just to remind myself of what I have to do. And I stole all this stuff from a guy named Dr. Tim Elmore. I read his book called Habitudes. It's about leadership habits and attitudes and where we get them from. Where do we create our habits? Where do we create our leadership traits? And where do we get our attitudes from? And there's a couple things that we need to understand. Before this whole happened, we had a lot of life's mountains and pleasures, and we had life's valleys and tough times. We thought we knew what those were. We thought we knew what those were, and now it's redefining the valleys. It's also redefining the mountains. The valleys are tough times, not only with the pandemic, with the racial strife that's going on right now, and the inequality and so on and so forth. Not only are you and I being challenged with who we are and what we do and what needs to be changed now to deal with this, the people that we lead, the students, their valleys are deeper than they've ever been before. It's just deeper than it's ever been before. So we need to understand what this is about. We must successfully navigate this journey. We have to learn, appreciate, understand, and have some grit. What is grit? Where did you learn grit? Where did I learn grit from? I don't know. Maybe it's Cleveland, Ohio. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Blue collar Polish Catholic family. My favorite all-time hero was LeBron James. He brought a championship back to Cleveland. His number one quote was, in Cleveland, nothing is given, everything is earned. So in my life, and with my students, what I try to promote, and my own children, I try to promote them that they're going to have to earn this. I'm not going to give it to you. Because if we earn it, it's much more. We understand it. Grit is something that you need to teach, and you and I both need to understand that we need to go after this with a vengeance right now. What is grit? Here it is. It's a clear goal. It's talking about self-confidence and humility. It doesn't come easy, right? Another rock and roll tune, because I'm an old rock and roller. In high school, I was going to be a rock and roll star. It didn't quite work out, but there's still hope. There's still hope. Maybe my elder years will do that. Persistence despite fear. Um, Persistence, patience, code of ethics to live by, flexibility, capacity for human connection and collaboration. This is banned. Accept help is not weakness. We do this all the time. How many of you videotape yourself during rehearsals? We do this all the time, and we look at what we don't. Videotapes don't lie. Two things in the world. Recordings don't lie, and small children don't lie because we haven't taught them how to lie yet, right? Focus and appreciate each step. Loyalty, inner strength to propel you to your goals. There's some images. There's about, there's 12 images we're going to talk about here that I think really out of this book that made a lot of sense to me. Look at a score. When you're looking at your orchestral score, your wind band score, you're looking at what is, and you're also thinking about what could be, but you're also keeping in mind what you're working with. So image number one, when you're looking through the front mirror of driving your car, you're looking at where you're going and you're concentrating on that. The rear view mirror is designed to let us know that we can look in the back and find out where we were. We also have to pay attention to what's coming up behind us. We also look to the side of the roads and so on. So we need to do that, forward and backward. And the answer is yes. You'll get this slideshow when it's all done. I'll show you how to get that. So just, you got it, no problem. We gaze and we glance. How many of you look at a score and you know the score well enough, but you look to remind yourself that you have to cue Johnny in the trumpet section because Johnny's not paying attention all the time, right? So we gaze at that score and then we glance at Johnny. But at the same time, we're looking at the score and looking ahead at the big picture. We multitask. We are the best at this. We pull a lot of things together and pull people together for one common commitment. So that mirror image is a great thing. The windshield or the rearview mirror. Where does your energy come from? Past or the future? I mean, Tim's got a great line about the past, the present, and the future. It's the present that's the passion. And it's the journey that makes a difference for us. So when you think about the past, go back to that sponge thing we talked about. We're learning from where we've been. The future, who knows what that is, but I do know that I'm going to do the best I can to provide some type of impetus to gear that future towards where we need it to be for our programs and for our lives and for our students' lives. That's important. Peace of mind. Boy, we need this now more than ever, especially our kids. And you're probably doing the same thing I am. I am answering so many questions online and in Zooms. I'm a Zoom expert. And those of you that know me know that this technology thing is not my forte. I've worried more about this 35-minute session than I have in my last 10 years of teaching. No exaggeration. This has been killing me. But we're getting through it. Hopefully it's going to work fine. But these kids are worried. They're scared to death. My own children are scared to death. I'm scared. But at the same time, it's my job to go forward. And this is what we need. The conducting, the tuning of the band, the picking literature, that's all good stuff. We need to focus on getting us through it and getting them through it, because we will. We will. A little bit. So absence of suspense, resentment, and regret, not wasting time and energy, fighting conditions you cannot change. We are in something that we have to change, but there's some things we can't. We have to manage. This is called life. This is called band. You don't have that English horn soloist, right? What do? We manage and give it to somebody else, right? Forcing yourself to get involved in the world around you. We need to do this. We can no longer be, and Tim does that great clinic where he talks about, stopping the band and pulling 2 clarinets out and put them on the bench and bringing 2 more clarinets in. That's not the way it is in the band. You are what you are. We are what we are. We're counting on you. We're going to get you through this. So we're all involved in this. The self-pity thing is easy to get involved with this. Oh, woe is me and we're in trouble. I lay there at night just like you, and I think we're all sleeping less. There's no question. All sleeping less. And we're thinking about a lot of things. And I remember with my students, when I talk to them, I'm thinking, is this the worst thing I've ever been through in my life? Those of us that are balding at the top and have some gray hair and some jowls and all this sort of stuff here. We've been through a lot of things. I grew up in the 60s and early 70s, Vietnam, the draft, Bobby Kennedy assassination, Martin Luther King assassination, racial unrest, riots, cities being burned down, the Tet Offensive, Vietnam. All these things were there. And then Richard Nixon. It went on and on and on. I keep thinking, was that worse than this? And I don't know. I don't know that. But I did know back then I was worried. I was worried that it was the end, that there was no way out of this. But there is. We rolled up our sleeves and we did. We have to do this again. We have to do this again. If it is inspiring you a little bit, this is great, but it's inspiring me a lot to continue to fight. The remedy is right now we have to replace comfort with curiosity. How can we make this work? They're talking about a lot of good things on how to make this stuff work, and we have to. Will we ever get back to normal? I'm not sure what normal is or normal was or what it would be, but we will get to something. I don't want to be a victim of our circumstances. I don't know, blame this pandemic or everything else that's going on for the demise of my program. I'm going to work around it. I want to embrace the opportunities. I'm commit to new opportunities. It's difficult because you're talking about an old dog in a new routine here, especially the online stuff, Zooming, teaching classes online. Holy smokes. Did I have a challenge with that? We're creating new memories. We're relinquishing the past and moving on because we have to in a lot of ways, and we won't go there. This is my favorite quote. The longer you wait for the future, the shorter it will be. The future is here now. And that goes to with the journey. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but we have to. We'll have to talk about this future we're in right now. Image number 2. And which one are you? Are you the compass or the GPS? The GPS takes you on paved roads. Doesn't we all do that? Used to travel a lot. Haven't traveled anywhere these last couple of months here, but the GPS got us there. It got us to the place we were supposed to be. There's no question. It got us to where we're supposed to be. The compass took us in uncharted roads, took us through the woods. And that image right there is something you need to think about. The compass is probably more an enjoyable aspect of it. Personal values, routines, all those sorts of things. How will you get to the compass on this? It's not going to be a paved road. Image number 3, without any political statements whatsoever, the bridge is the answer. We see differences and we put up a wall and we fight this. That's not the way it used to be. The way it used to be isn't coming back. So we need to make sure that we understand this. We hang around similar people, no? We're attracted and prone to those who are like us. We prejudge so those who are not like us. We shy away from those who are different. Look at your band and your orchestra. Man, you got every color of the rainbow in there. Yeah, it's a great thing to do. You have a wonderful opportunity to set this thing straight through the art of music making. Be the bridge and expand your horizons. We need others to stretch us. You can read this. We need to build bridges of relationships, especially with administrators. Bob Morrison talked about that before. We have to bear the truth. It's going to change. It's going to be different. That's a hard pill for me to swallow, too. Image 4, baggage. We all have all kinds of baggage. They come into your band with all kinds of baggage, don't they? They come from algebra, chemistry, you name it. They're not thinking of artistic values. They're not thinking of those. We have to remove the baggage to get to the good artistic stuff, and that takes some time. It's the price of baggage is expensive. Those of you that fly, 25, 30, 50 bucks a bag, 2 bags, there you go. Emotional bags take time too, and those are expensive. How do we break through this? Talk it over. We're not alone, folks. Most baggage involves relationships, and it is with our band. I'm going fast because I'm going to run out of time here in a little bit, but I just want to make sure, and you'll get this video, audio thing, and the slideshow when we're all done here. Identify your performance traps. Look at these things here and assess yourself. What are you good at? What are you not good at? What do you have to do to get better at some of these? Because we're going to start to learn who we are a little bit better before. Step 3, try it out. Review, recall, release, respond. Refuse to be a victim. And that's important at these times here. Image number 5, I think, is good, is the guardrails. Structure to keep us on the road. It's support, guidance, and accountability. And we have to keep looking through that mirror to see where we are. What about this? The toll booths and the roadblocks. Which one do you go through? Do you pay the price for success? Or do you stop because you don't have change for that and you get that ticket in the mail, right? Pay the price or fail. And I tell the band this all the time. We're going to have to pay the price for success or we will fail. And it's much more expensive to fail. Image 7. I travel a lot, and many of you do. Flight delays sometimes for me are a good thing, especially if it's in Chicago. Because if it's an overnight flight delay, I get in the cab and I go to Gene and Georgetti's and get a pork chop the size of the Flintstones Brontosaurus burgers, right? Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. So we need to manage expectations. We need to adapt to this. It's illusion to disillusion. Think about this, some good stuff. Image 8. Now it's the time not to burn bridges. We have to build bridges, and this is difficult, especially because we create these burnt bridges as we go through our careers. We have to keep the lines of communication open, especially for this pandemic. And this is an old one. Is your tank half full or empty, right? Be content with you, being dissatisfied and strive to grow. A combination of both is healthy. We're all good people. We all can grow. We can all get better. Our kids are the same way, and they need to know that we're human and we're going to make mistakes and go through some things. That's important. Are you a travel guide or a tour guide? Travel agent or a tour guide? One goes with you, the other one tells you where to go. And we'll leave that at that one, right? Mentorship is the answer. We need to tell them what they need to do, and we need to go there with them. This is called band. This is called orchestra. That's why this is the best class of the day in the school. We need to sell this to the administration to make sure. Backseat drivers, we have them all, don't we? No one likes them. Know what you have control over and what you don't. In this pandemic thing that we're going through sometimes right now, we have control over some things. There's some things we don't have control over that we have to manage and be prepared for. So the backseat driver is somebody that nobody likes. There's no shortcut to what we're going through. We all live for shortcuts. We have to do more with less, and that's going to get worse, isn't it? How many of you got a budget increase this year? Yeah, right. The first mile, we always go, we have to. We do the minimum duty, satisfy. The second one, it's because we want to. We're going to do the maps, the devotion, the service, and that. This is you as a music educator. This is you as a band teacher, as an orchestra teacher. You go beyond that and you do more than we're supposed to do. This is what you do. That's what the power of this whole thing is about and what we need to get through. The destination versus the trip. Reach a goal or enjoy the journey. People ask me all the time because I'm 64. And by the way, I'm going to be a grandpa. First time grandpa. I just got this news about a week ago. I am excited. One of my to-do lists for this summer is to get up in the attic in the garage to take all the little Tykes toys down and clean them off and get them ready. So I'm really pumped about this. The journey to this stage of life has been tremendous. Been absolutely tremendous. The journey to get to a great band program and to a great performance is the enjoyment factor. It's not the actual performance itself. That's wonderful, but it's on the way to get there. That's what this is all about that we have to do. We have to enjoy the trip. We have to enjoy the trip. What's your destination? Let's be smart. What's your tips, your goals for this fall with your band and orchestra? Be specific, be measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. That's success, and these kids need to have success. They need to see you having success. We need to have it. This is my favorite quote from the book in the old Greek battles. You want to talk about pure motivation and confidence? When they used to hit the beaches to go into battle, they would burn the boats and send a message that there is no plan B. There is no option for failure. We will succeed. So in all of us, I have to constantly remind myself as we get closer to whatever's going to happen in fall, I'm burning the boats. We're not going back. We will not fail. We will move forward. This has to be a success for all of us, and that's the important thing that's there. And the credits are given to Dr. Tim Elmore, who wrote this book called Habitudes. It's a wonderful book. It's a great book. I've got a whole pile of these that I read. It's embarrassed to say sometimes I don't read a lot of the music journals. I read a lot of the books that will help me guide students and guide myself through these. Now, many of you are asking about this presentation. I will put this on the K-State Band website under downloads and Dr. Trace handouts. It'll be there later today, along with probably hundreds of other clinics I've done over the last 4 or 5 years. And you could download those. You could change some things. You could put your name on it. Like I said, I steal from the best. I don't shoplift at Walmart, right? I do not shoplift at Walmart. I'll go ahead and do the best, right? This is terrible, but I steal from the best, and you could do this as well. Take whatever you want from any of those sessions and go ahead and use it for your purpose. My goal here, and thanks Tim and Nola and everybody, and especially Rania for getting me through this. I felt so bad because I called her all the time, so I couldn't get the speaker to work. I couldn't get the video to work, and the curtain was falling and all this sort of stuff. And she probably thought, God, I can't wait till he's done, right? but she's just a gold mine, and this Conn-Selmer thing is amazing. You need to take this and learn from this, and you need to move forward. You need to be strong. Our kids need us now more than ever. You're going to be down. You're going to have those moments just like we all do, but we need to get through this, and we need to fight through this together. Questions? I'll look at the chat thing here. Ronnie, I think I was right on time with my 35 minutes and 10 minutes of questioning here. Let's see if anything comes up. Eric Dennis wants to know where the pineapple is. That's pretty amazing. Even the Jayhawks liked it. That's a good thing. That's another great band program. Paul Popeil's doing a great job there. One of the things that we've done to prepare for this fall is we've had Facebook Lives on Sunday nights for our band kids and for our recruits and our parents and stuff. And we do it from our backyard. And I'll just talk about what's coming up, what the changes are going to happen. Our numbers are through the roof. We have more kids interested in the K-State band program than we ever had before. And it's amazing. Now, what's going to happen from there, I don't know. But I think a lot of the things is that we need to give them something to look forward to. And so we're going to continue to make adjustments and changes. We'll get through this. Will I be upset and angry and some things of that nature? Yeah, I will. There's no question about that. So, suggestions to your kids. Yeah, I think the suggestions for your kids that I would give to you is you have to do what I'm doing and everybody else do. We just have to be positive. There's an old saying that we're being thrown a curveball. We've been hitting fastballs forever and ever. Now they threw a curveball and we can't hit it. But what we all have to do is that we need to be able to hit that curveball and work out. So we need to get a little bit different. We need to change some things here. We need to understand that these kids are going to have to be engaged in such a way. The band program will not look the same. That bothers me. I'm an old-time band geek. I went to Miles Elementary School in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where Frederick Fennell went to school. Not at the same time, of course, but that's my claim to fame. I may have been in the same room or bathroom that Frederick Fennell is. I think that's royalty. I'm happy now. But there's things that we have to engage these kids, and we need to keep in contact with them to let them know that we need to move forward, and we're not gonna abandon you. The band and the orchestra will live on. Might be a little different for a while, but we will go through it. We have to remind ourselves this. And I will mail you all this information, the PowerPoint and some other things, and I'll send it to you, and we'll get you all set and ready to go. Some other questions here. In terms of the study of which one's more accurate, what's going on, all the studies that are out there, cbDNA has done a great job of putting some things together about how to mitigate COVID-19 and what we have to do. And there's, if you go to the cbDNA website, there is a whole link of things that you can do, and I'll share that with you as well. I think with the parents, I think one of the things that we do really well is we teach emotions. We teach kids how to handle things. And with the arts, rather than do the computers or be in band or orchestra, we need to sell that. We need to sell it what it is. And we need to sell it with people that are already successful. One of the things I do on the Sunday night Facebook Live is I'll bring alumni back in that are out being engineers, doctors, lawyers, that were in band, played tuba in the marching band, or played drum set in the cat band, the basketball band. And they'll talk about that experiences. And a lot of parents are talking about, well, our kids aren't going to have time for this. They're not going to have time to be in band. Yes, they will. And here's why. It's not expensive. It's going to be very expensive if they don't do it. And one of the questions here is, your young kids, middle school, moving to high school, are not spending a lot of time checking emails in the summer. Since many of us are not able to recruit this spring as we normally might, how would you recommend creating a report to encourage students to stay engaged in band and the arts as they begin high school in the age of COVID-19? That's a great question. I don't have all the answers, but I do know what I can do. On my website, on my Facebook Live sort of things, I get things out. I keep in touch with students, with leaders. I keep sending information to parents, to recruits. Information is power. And if you have that, you could alleviate some things. We can only do what we can do and give them the facts and figures. Some parents have their minds made up that their kid's not going to be in band or orchestra because they're going to take this and stuff. That's fine. And you're not going to be able to change their minds as much as you think you can. But you can set in motion, especially with the child, the student themselves, that they want to do this for a variety of reasons. One of the benefits of playing in band and orchestra is it the camaraderie with the kids? Is it to be involved in other things? Yes, it is. They can be influential. Uh, with the new CDC guidelines, with what we're planning right now with the wind down, so we have 5 concert ensembles. We're going to do chamber stuff. Right now, we're in stage 3 of social distancing, which means that we could go 45 students into a room with social distancing. In our rehearsal, we could do about 30 at 6 feet apart. So we're doing from the top wind ensemble to the 5th university band. We're going to do chamber groups, and it's out there. There's some great composers that are out there writing flex parts. I just the commercial for James Seiler. I did speaking with him the last couple of days. He's writing a lot of stuff for flex stuff, and we just bought. I mean, it's really cheap too. It's $50 a pop or something of that nature, and so we can do these things. So we are doing things creatively until this passes, and it will. We will get through this. I promise you, we will get through this. We have to. There's just no other way. That we start to move into the full band once we can get to that point. So we're hanging on. And we're all going to struggle, there's no question. So having less kids in the room, separating them, so on and so forth, check out cbDNA guidelines and what the research is and what they have found and what the cbDNA and many organizations have paid researchers to do. There's facts. Scientists are real, and they know. They could tell you about this. Who did I mention for the Flex? The Canadian Brass talked about this. You're right. There's all kinds of options. We're going to have to get creative. When you get creative with the middle school bands, especially playing in hallways in between classes or someplace else, you're going to build rapport. You're going to build confidence. You're going to in the students, and you're also going to build support with other teachers in the hallway. We have to get creative. We can't do this alone. So there's lots of options we have with keep this thing going. So you've got some good questions here. Yeah. And Granger Elastic Scoring was the original flex part. You betcha. There's a lot of composers that are out there that you know that you could buy their stuff. If it's not a flex score, that will work. What's the old saying? John Payne used to say, Claire Grundman never wrote anything without a melody all the time. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Some good questions, some good comments. And to Kelly, Balmages, Meechin, Shapiro, and Mackey, they're all writing flex stuff now. The nice thing about this profession is people are coming to the fore to help. You know, they have to if they want to stay in business, but they're also coming to the fore to help us. So we can contact them. That's the nice thing about the band and the orchestra world. We can contact the composers, and they'll talk to us. In fact, most of the time they talk forever, right? And so that's a good thing. And so we can contact them and have them write some things. And they will, because they know that they're planting the seed for business later. And we all have to do that. Yeah. Some good questions. I hope that this got you thinking about some things. I hope it gave you the push that maybe you needed, that we all needed. I know it really helps me quite a bit to get through this. Yeah, the lobbying of taking band off the activity list is and considered an extracurricular sport, and you know, I that's a tough one. I think we just have to continue. There's no silver bullet. There's no magic pill that's going to solve this problem. I think it takes time, and this is one of those where it's the journey that's important. We need to fight every day. That means that we have to take one step at a time to sell our program. You know, there's an old saying, you want to leave it better than you found it, and this is exactly what we have to do there. We have to keep going. So there you go. I'm trying to read at the same time. I was watching other faculty coming in and out and questions and stuff. So yeah, some good connections here. You're getting more information in this thing. This in the last 2 days that is just absolutely phenomenal. What was the code for marching band workshops? I'm not sure what that means. Well, kids do want to play chamber music if it's good stuff. Put things together with the hope, and one of the other options that we have is that we're going to do sectionals with woodwinds and then brass, and on Fridays do percussion. And then we eventually put it together. We got to keep the carrot in front of them. If this goes away and comes back to the point that we can be normal again, we can go ahead and put the entire band together. So, and this is a wonderful opportunity to teach these kids. It's not about instant gratification. It never was. Look at the process of music education. Look at the process of picking up a stringed instrument or a woodwind instrument, brass or percussion in 5th grade. It's a 7-year process to get to the level that you can make some good music, right? So it takes some time. So it's the same thing with the process of selling our colleagues. Now, you know as well as I do, there's some colleagues that will never, ever support what some of us do. It's not that we ignore them. We just keep working around them and through them and over them and under them, and we have to. In a positive way, in a collegial way, we need to move forward because the band profession, the orchestra profession, and music education as a whole needs to do this. We need to keep doing this. So I worry less about the colleagues that don't support us. I worry more about the students. That's exactly right. Individual skills until we can come back and work ensembles. This is where you come in. You're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to sell ice cubes to an Eskimo, right? You're going to have to be a real good salesman about this and get through. So your teaching techniques are going to be pretty sharpened. Your ability to motivate kids in front of them and the ability to do things is going to be heightened at this point. And that's going to be a good thing because it'll be more exciting. It's a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge. We're having for virtual sectionals and things of that nature, we're having them record stuff. And again, I'm not the technological person, the technical person. Dr. Wimmer is my associate here, and he's wonderful at this. But with the marching band, we've had all our kids each section put a video online of fundamentals and playing the school songs. And the drum majors came up with the commands and so on and so forth. And right now what we're going to do is we're going to have them learn those sorts of things and come back to band and maybe put it together. Or we just may end up doing this for a long time and having it, we're starting to enjoy the process here and the kids are really into it. So there we go. So we're getting to the point that we're going to where they are and what we can do and trying to get the same thing. Yeah, some good questions, some good comments. Some very good questions. I hope that this was useful to you. I hope that it was the shot in the arm that you needed. I hope this was something that you could maybe take back. You have to remember that you're in charge. You have to remember that you're the person that's going to stand up in front, and they're looking for answers. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for leadership. It's going to define who you are as a leader to get through this. You're going to have to be a better leader than you ever were before. So what we do need to do is we need to understand each other. We need to reach out to each other. We need to help each other. Everybody here's got some great comments. I'm going to save these and steal these from everybody. So I just wish you the best. I just want you to know that we're locking elbows. We're going to go forward. We're going to get through this together. And we'll be good. So thank you very much.